Hi friends, happy Wednesday. Here are the things that we're going to do today. So we have some new word wall words we're going to go over, and we'll do that in just a minute. Actually, we'll just do it now. All right, this is the word long, and if I add an A to it, we don't really say a long, although you can say that, but we usually say it more along. It sounds more like a U sound, along. Like, can I come along with you to the store? Along. All right. This next one I like because it has part of we can do some words. We have no, and I know that we know ing, and the th. No thing. No thing. But actually, if you'd say it as nothing. Nothing. But you can think of it because it kind of means the same thing, right? If you have nothing, you have no thing. Nothing. The next one, it has our GH dad in it. Now remember what he says? He says nothing, right? He doesn't say anything. He's just quiet, right? He just sits there and lets all the other people in his family who make noise. So this isn't going to say anything in here. It's going to be ought, thought, thought. This is a tricky one because it has that OU, thought. Remember, this does not follow the rules. That's why it's a word wall word. That's why it's one you just have to memorize, right? Thought. All right, and our next one is actually one of the names of the secretaries, Mrs. Early, except if it was a name, we'd have a capital E here, right? Because that would be a proper noun. But early also means like, are you up early in the morning, right? Or I got there early, nobody else was there yet. So it looks like it's an ear. It looks like it should be early, okay? But remember, these don't follow the rules. So it's early. That A really doesn't say anything. It doesn't do the vowel team of E, okay? So this one doesn't follow the rules. It's early. You just have to memorize it. All right, let's see if I mix them up. See if you can say them. Ready? Along. Did you beat me? Thought. Early. And nothing. Good job. So you're going to take these 4 words and you are going to use them to write sentences, at least 4 sentences in your April journal. All right, so write sentences using these 4 words in your journal, okay? And then upload that so we can see your awesome writing. Don't forget capitals and end marks, right? Periods or question marks or exclamation points. Make sure you have an end mark, all right? All right, and then your Wednesday book. You either have Jill's shoelaces or the not so gigantic bike. All right, now I saw these are about kids who do not give up when they're trying something difficult. Now I saw Maylee and Evelyn were learning to ride their bikes without training wheels. That's awesome. Maybe some of you are doing that too. So, or learning to tie your shoes. Maybe you're learning that. That's a tricky thing too, but a great thing to practice right now. First grade is a great time to learn how to tie your shoes if you don't know how. So those might be something that you want to try. But these are about kids who didn't give up when something was hard for them. So you're going to read whichever one you have of these 2, and then you're going to take an AR test on it. You do not have to send us a picture of the AR test because you log in with your own special code. We actually can log in and see your test, so you don't need to send us anything with that, okay? We'll be able to see that. All right, then Bible. I want to tell you the Bible story. We're going to go back to King David. Hooray! So David, if you remember, before we did the Easter stuff, we talked about David was hiding from King Saul, right? And he had to hide. Do you remember where he had to go to be safe, where King Saul wouldn't kill him? With the Philistines, right? So I want to look here. I drew our map up already, so we didn't have to take as much time with that. So we have the Sea of Galilee, we have the Jordan River, the Dead Sea, the mountains, the Mediterranean Sea over here. And this, remember, right along the sea was where the Philistines lived. And David had to hide out up there with the Philistines. right? He had to live up there. Well, remember then when Saul was finally died in one of the battles with the Philistines, actually, that they were thought David would be super happy, hooray! But David was sad that King Saul had died, and Prince Jonathan too. And so he was sad for quite a while. Now, finally, after being sad for a while and still living there, he prayed to God. And that's always a good thing to do, to ask God for what he'd like you to do, is to ask him and pray to him. So he prayed to God and he said, God, what should I do? Should I go back now? And God said, yes, go to the town of Hebron. Now, Hebron is just a little bit outside of Jerusalem. It's kind of down in here, but it's kind of up to the mountains. It's kind of over here. Okay, so Hebron, he said, go to the town of Hebron and live there. So David did, and the people of Hebron, and the people those were the tribe of Judah, and it was kind of a big tribe, and Judah, and they said, yay, we want David to be our king. And so they made him king over those tribes of Judah. Okay. So he was king over Judah, but not all of Israel agreed at first. Now, King Saul, some of Prince Jonathan, and a couple other princes were killed, but there was one son yet. His name was Prince Ishbosheth. That's an interesting name, right? We don't really have that kind of name before, but Ishbosheth, I think that's how you spell it. So Prince Ishbosheth, he was King Saul's son. And he said, I want to be king. And most of the rest of Israel said, yeah, you're King Saul's son. You should be the king. They forgot about that Samuel had anointed David to be the king, right? And that he had said Saul's line was not going to continue, that it was not going to happen. That was part of Saul's punishment for not obeying God, remember? So he had Prince Ishbosheth said, I'm going to be the king now. And he crowned himself the king, and people were following him for a couple of years. And David did not want to fight Ishbosheth. He didn't want to fight Saul's family, but they ended up having a few skirmishes and battles, small battles that they had together. But pretty much David was king down here, and Ishbosheth was king of the rest of it up here for a while. And then finally, Ishbosheth's side got kind of weaker and weaker, and his army got weaker and weaker, and David's got stronger and stronger because God was with David, right? God had anointed David. God's going to be blessing David. So David started getting stronger and stronger, and finally, actually, two of Ishbosheth's own advisors, two of his friends, actually ended up killing him. And they ended up killing Ishbosheth, and they went to David and said, yay, we got rid of the other king, aren't you happy? But do you think that David liked that they killed him? His friends killed him? No. He said God would take care of it, right? And so he actually punished those two friends of Ishbosheth, and not really friends, right, who killed him. But David ended up becoming not just king of Judah, he ended up becoming king of all of Israel after that. All the rest of the Israelites said, we should have followed you, David, after all, and we want you to be our king. And so God's promise, when David was just a shepherd boy, when God had sent Samuel there and said, he might not look like the tallest or the most handsome or the strongest or the smartest, but he has a good heart, right? He has a good heart. And he said, your heart is what matters to God. And we're going to find out in some of the stories we're going to do the next few days, David makes some mistakes, and David has some bad things that he does. He's not perfect, just like we're not perfect. But as long as we have a heart for God, God will forgive us when we do wrong things, and he will help us through things because he wants our heart to be for him. All right, so David wasn't perfect. The people in the Bible aren't perfect. They make mistakes and they do wrong things just like we do. But God still loved and forgive them, and he put those stories in the Bible so we know that God will still love and forgive us too. All right, so that's our Bible story for today, and Mrs. Vanderkamp will talk about math.